could the process of crop rotation combined with food harvesting mean that peanuts end up getting in something else, causing more peanut reactions, or could it be contaminating something about the peanuts themselves? It's a tough one. History is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know.
I appreciated the book reading assassination episode. I've ordered the book, looking forward to reading it. Hey, our viral marketing is working. Follow Coinkydink's lead and get the book. It's out now. You can get the audiobook if that's your bag. I'm an audiobook guy. If you want to hear Ben and Matt and myself read you a story, multiple stories, you can do that, or you can order the actual book. It is a lovely piece of literature with illustrations by our buddy Admiral Turbo Nick Benson. Going on with email, wanted to share some thoughts. This one's been backburning in my mind for a while. The peanut allergy. So why the rise in people allergic to peanuts? You know, peanuts is off the email. It is one that you like, they make a big deal about. If you have kids, there's certain, if you have a kid with a peanut allergy and your kid's like peer group or whatever, no peanut butter. No, you can't bring my kid, went to a smaller private school a while back, and there was one kid that had a peanut allergy and no one was allowed to bring peanuts because it can be inhaled. There are it's very serious. Peanut allergies can cause people to go into anaphylactic shock and potentially die. It's a serious, like a shellfish allergy. It's a big deal. So why the rise in people with peanut allergies? So my thoughts are this. The peanut growers changed something in their process, maybe modified the seeds, changed pesticides, fungicides, or herbicides, or introduced something into the soil. So here's what I found. The uptick of allergic reactions starts around the 1990s. The peanut growers are advised to rotate crops with bahia grass. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right, bahia grass. Bahia grass causes severe allergic reactions. And then there's quite a few good links that Coinkydink has provided. I think there's bahia grass or similar allergens being grown into the peanuts. And this is my own commentary here, or at the very least on the surface of them, being transmitted with them. While doing some searching to explain to my grandmother why the modern flour was not nearly as good for her tortilla making abilities, I came across this video for modern wheat versus ancient einkorn. Einkorn, or also known as emmer, or maybe they're just two related early forms of wheat, are apparently very, very similar, higher in fiber and protein than standard modern wheat, and they have more antioxidants and nutrients. But here's the thing that interested me. Einkorn, according to a couple of sources that I found, is the only wheat never hybridized, and it has only 2 sets of chromosomes. So that's very interesting. So going on with the email, my thoughts keep looking for explanations. We thought my daughter was allergic to strawberries, but most likely it's the pollens, mold spores, or other contaminants on the berries, not the berries themselves. If I rub them while rinsing them under water, she'll have no reaction, but only running water on them and she'll have hives. Another burning thought in the back of my mind, how did we survive so long without knowing about Rh factors in blood? We'll get back to that in just a second. Does that explain more lost pregnancies that may have been attributed to diseases, environment, or hygiene? Could this be another reason why it was favorable to inbreed or marry within one's family? And then there's a few more great links. And then love the show, Coinkydink. So the idea of Rh blood factor. This is the thing. It's called the rhesus factor, and I'm reading this from Medical News Today. So this is my first encounter with this, so I'm just going to read it directly, and I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. The rhesus factor, or Rh factor, is a protein that may be present on the surface of red blood cells. If RBCs contain red blood cells, contain the Rh antigen, they are Rh positive, and if not, they are Rh negative. It is important to know a person's Rh factor to ensure that they receive compatible blood. So that's to do with transfusions, but it seems that it also can have to do with allergies and how, you are affected by certain allergens. But I don't know. What do you guys think about, the idea of rotating a crop as important, staple crop as peanuts? Old George Washington Carver, and like the gazillions of uses for peanuts and peanut oil. And I feel like Bubba in, Forrest Gump talking about the different uses of shrimp. But I mean, peanuts, obviously peanut butter is a huge staple food. It's very affordable. It's very high in protein. It's massively popular in the United States and other countries, I'm sure. The idea
Peanuts are responsible for what I think is the best sauce on the planet.
Oh yeah,
a Thai
nice
peanut
Penang
sauce. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. But the idea that it's recommended that they rotate it with this other grass that I'm not aware of. We know about crop rotation. That's a way of making sure you're conserving your soil and keeping the nutrients rich and not depleting the soil, because one crop without rotation will do just that. So if you rotate it out with another one, it kind of strikes this balance. But if you're rotating it with something that is more of an allergen, then is it that thing that is somehow leaching into the soil? Again, I'm not a botanist. I don't know. I'm literally just going by what was in Coinkydink's email and some of the sources. But I'm interested to see what you, Ben and Matt, think about that possibility.
It is. I mean, it is known that this grass in particular does have a damaging effect. Like, it can cause allergic reactions. It might be a little bit different, though. This is such an intriguing concept here, Coinkydink. It might be a little bit different, but I see where we're going with the strawberry example. People with confirmed peanut allergies can also often have what's called cross-reactivity, meaning you're going to have a higher than average likelihood of being allergic to soy or tree nuts as well, even peas and lentils, which I wasn't aware of. But from what we understand, this is what's called a type 1 hypersensitivity reaction of the immune system, right? That's what happens to people who have peanut allergies. You're right, too. You're absolutely right that there is an increase in peanut allergies, but I haven't found too much linking that specifically to this crop rotation idea. And I'm wondering, again, Noel, like you, I'm not the expert here, but I'm wondering what causes, that's just a very interesting concept. We know that people can be sort of desensitized to peanut allergies, right? It can be prevented through diet of the carrying parent when the child is in the womb. I think you can also decrease the risk if you give them peanut proteins between 4 to 11 months old. Fascinating stuff. I mean, Matt, what do you think? Do you guys know anybody with a peanut allergy?
I got a nephew who had a peanut allergy for a long time, even though his mom, my sister, took great pains to expose him to peanuts early on, did all the right things. He still ended up being pretty allergic, but now he's not allergic to peanuts, but he's got a tree nut allergy. And, it's just really tough because as a parent or somebody, living with an allergy like that, you really do have to be super cautious just going through life. And, in order for that child or person to be safe, you do have to take great pains, like getting on an entire school or, anybody who's going to interact with a certain class to agree, okay, we're not going to, have any of this stuff anywhere near anyone.
I think it's why they stopped serving peanuts on flights too. They do almonds now. You don't see little packets of peanuts anymore, because I think it grew to such a concern that they didn't want to be responsible for accidentally exposing someone to peanuts in a closed system. And I don't think they just switch them out when they find out someone has a peanut allergy. I think they were better safe than sorry.
Yeah, but it's a weird concept when you think about, when I'm talking about those great pains and what we'll do to protect one person or a very, very small number of humans amongst us. It's weird to me that we do that. I think it's really good, right? Everybody deserves, to be treated in that way. It's just strange, as a society, that we, I guess, do that. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a sustainable thing.
Still not 100% sure whether allergies are the causes of certain things, or like the degree to which allergies, I don't know. I just feel like the idea of I'm allergic to this. I feel like a lot of people say that just because they think that they've been around something.
Yeah, it's true to a degree, because we have to remember that you can take tests, right? You can go to a medical professional to help suss out specific allergens.
They poke you. Right, they
Yeah.
basically give you a tiny little taste of
Right.
the thing, and then they see what the poke does, essentially.
And you can see if something weird happens to your skin. But it is true, your point. Sometimes there are self-reported cases of an allergy, right? Like someone may have incorrectly attributed like a spot of diarrhea or something to some kind of allergy, right? And it makes sense in their mind, but they didn't have a doctor check it out, you know? And of course, let's be honest, in the U.S., you often won't be able to afford to have a doctor check it out. But we do know allergies are real. People may think they have allergies, and there may be another explanation, or they may be allergic to something else, right, that they associate with the culprit in their mind. But still, it can be very, very dangerous. And one of the questions that I always think we should tackle with this kind of stuff is, is the peanut allergy trend, is it rising, or are there better diagnostic tools? Like, think about it. If you look back at
the 90s.
Right. If you look back in, say, the 1890s, how many people were dying of peanut allergies? We honestly do not know.
They were too busy dying of the plague, I think, for anyone to worry about peanuts.
And brain fever, and left-footedness or whatever.
No, it's a really good point, Ben. We've sort of like, kind of like done the homework at this point, and have been able to separate, what the thing is, and then we've been able to kind of isolate a little better over time, what the cause of certain maladies might be. I think it's a really, really good point. I do still think the crop rotation idea is interesting. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I think it was worth chatting about.